Well, here we have it. Sort of cosmetically restored as well. Now, the top plate on this old N2400 was so badly scratched and knackered that I'd got no hope at all of trying to restore the original brushed metal finish. So I put it to James that it might be an idea to consider using Fablon of a suitably 60s, 70s colour to bring the old thing back to somewhere near where it should be, shall I say. Lots of these machines made by Philips around then had a wood effect cassette door anyway. The lettering here was in such a bad way, it was a find of outline. I'll show you what it looked like on this one. And Philips, of course, would have printed that with a somewhat impressive piece of kit. You know, the Philips plant was so big in Eindhoven that they actually had their own power station, for heaven's sake, so you could see what sort of an outfit they were. And they weren't exactly tinkering in a kitchen or a shed, were they? You know. So all I can do is to do my best with it. I did find another cassette eject slider knob there, because the one that was on it wasn't very good at all. It was scratched and knocked about. Lord knows what they did. I know there's a big water wheel on the Isle of Man called the Laxey Wheel. Maybe they dropped this thing off there and it went in the mill race. It's the only thing I can think of to have had the poor thing in such a state. And I used glass paint to get these little lines on the controls back. Probably not too visible on the film, but they do stand out rather better than they did. All I could do with the lettering, though, as you see, is to carefully fill it in, trying to preserve the look of the very distinctive lettering they used. Now, this bit, of course, I had to leave in the silver finish, because you've got this here, of course, the tape counter, and Philips there is embossed into it. It actually stands proud, that lettering. So even if I tried to stick Fablon over that, it would show through. So I thought, no, doesn't seem to be much point in doing that. So I'll do it as I have. It actually looks very similar, now it's like this, to a machine Decca made many moons ago. And I'm fairly sure that the machine Decca made was their answer to this one. It was so nearly the same, it was ridiculous. Same side for the tape section, or towards the right if you like. Same top loading layout. The only thing that was different than I remember, the controls I think were record, rewind, fast forward, playback and stop. And I think it had a pause control up here and an eject there. It wasn't a Philips mechanism, though it was close to it. And on the front, rather than be rotary, like these, the controls were sliders. I think the power off on switch was there, the little VU meter like that even. So, nice machine. I had one to repair quite a while back now. And I'm told that it's still going well. It was finished in a lighter wood than this. It looked more like a sort of, how would you put it, beach colour, something like that. Anyway, so what I want to do now is try and see if this thing will record, because there's no reason why it oughtn't. You press play and record, wait for the leader tape. This sounds promising. Switch us on to macro so you can see the VU meter move. This is a test recording on the very old Philips N2400 stereo cassette deck. One of the first they made with a built-in amplifier for stereo sound years ago. And it looks as if it's going to work rather well. Well, we hope so anyway. It plays back beautifully, so there's no reason why it oughtn't to record well as well. And there's the beast, the old stereo mic. Let me shut him off. There we are. those mics sometimes appear badged as a Dynatrob, and the Philips 2506, which was this without the built-in amp really, appeared in some of their earlier radiograms and music centres too. Along with a Goldring Lenco turntable usually. Amazing the rubbish you remember. Here we go. Into playback. This sounds promising. Switch us on to macro so you can see the VU meter move. This is a test recording on the very old Philips N2400 stereo cassette deck. One of the first they made with a built-in amplifier for stereo sound years ago. And it looks as if it's going to work rather well. Well, we hope so anyway. It plays back beautifully, so there's no reason why it oughtn't to record well as well. Well, there you go. A perfectly balanced sound. No sort of because as you'd expect, this is a quality piece of kit, and of course it's AC bias recording rather than the El Cheapo DC bias used on some other models. Anyway, so there we are. I think that is, well, probably as far as I can take this back to looking as it ought. So there we have it. Anyway, see you soon.